I now recognize the ranking member, the gentlewoman from New Jersey, Mrs. McIver, for her 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman, and good job, Mr. Strong. That was right on time. Mr. Frazier, thank you so much for your testimony. It's clear that a failure to safeguard subsea cables could result in significant economic, political, and technology instability for the United States. Can you provide some great suggestions? You've already provided some great suggestions for improving our defenses of these cables. In your view, what is the one critical step that Congress can take to mitigate these risks?
Well, thank you for the question, Ranking Member. I think the first thing we need to focus on is the cable landing stations. We don't talk as much about the dry plant aspect of the undersea cable system. This is in reference to everything that's not underwater. But these cable landing stations are often in places like Valdez, Alaska, and Bandon Dunes, which is great for golfing if you live in Oregon, but easy to attack if you're looking to sabotage the nation's submarine systems. So I think an emphasis on securing these cable landing stations is of the utmost importance because, as Mr. Strong pointed out, we have a heck of a lot of them, which also means we don't necessarily have the physical security and cybersecurity mechanisms in place to safeguard each of those isolated stations.
Thank you for that. And I would open it up to each of the witnesses of what you think the number one step Congress could be taking at this point. Whoever can jump in, it's fine.
Well, I think one that's maybe most relevant to this committee is the role that Department of Homeland Security and the Coast Guard can play. And we don't like fragmentation in national security policy. We saw the dangers of fragmented intelligence before 9/11, and right now it seems like there are several different parts of government that have some responsibility here. So I think making Department of Homeland Security a coordinated hub to address this challenge could make sense. And then also, Congress, you can mandate that the executive branch develop strategies to deal with an issue. I would recommend that you task the executive branch with coming up, and Department of Homeland Security coming up with a U.S. government strategy for dealing with subsea cable security.
Thank you, Mr. Cohen.
So I think some of the things we've talked about so far are essentially reactive or in nature, very defensive posture. I think we also need to think about being proactive, and that follows on with what you just said, Matthew. I really love learning about cables, but something I'm even more passionate about is college football. I don't know if any of you are representatives are big football fans, but the one thing I hate is when my team pushes past the 50-yard line, stalls out with the 4th and short, and what do? They punt. To win the game, you have to score points. Right now, we're really ahead in the game. 80% of all intercontinental data flows through the United States, but that's down from 97% 20 years ago. And we also have a lot of cables that give us a lot of resilience, but the industry, from what I can see, is running into a lot of permitting issues. The permitting time in the last 5 years has greatly gone up, dealing with Team Telecom. If it becomes too difficult, the industry may choose to start routing to other places in North America. Canada and Mexico are viable options. As an American citizen, that scares me. I think what we do need is one agency that is a champion of cables, not in their own right, but realizing that cable security is national security. We need more resilience and someone in the executive department that will help usher through these new innovative plans.
Thank you.
And I'd like to reinforce that point. A specific statistic, I believe the time for cable approvals has gone from around 1 year, around 12 months, to about 3 years. We are seeing fewer and fewer entities willing to invest in subsea cables globally, to a point where today it's a small handful of companies, typically the sort of hyperscalers, who are laying cables. In that environment, we are not driving towards abundance, and abundance is our real strength here. If we have more cable capacity than we need, then we can afford to have incidents on individual cables, and we reduce the incentive for adversaries to engage in sabotage on those cables. So completely agree. I think some level of reform and greater efficiency and creating a single point of contact around that is very important.
Wow, thank you so much for that. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.